half of my face is melted because of what happened.
Oh no, his entire body is completely charred.
He looks like Charple from Gary's Mod.
Neil, actually, yeah, I was gonna say, Neil, you did a foolish choice. You could have looked like this, but you chose not to.
I know I could have looked like Joshua Graham, but Joshua Graham, he tends to his wounds.
I found a picture of Burned in his youth.
So, does Burn just look like a mummy then?
Nah, I think he means like actual burns.
Yeah. No, actual. I don't think he's actually bandaged up.
No, I meant like. I guess I meant like a mummy. Like you take off its bandage.
Kind of, yeah. Something sort of like that.
He sits in fire to heal.
Okay. You know how Freddy Krueger. You know Cody Freddy Krueger. He's a burned victim. It's flesh like that.
That works.
Does he have eyes?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well,
Right.
he's still not as weird as Carnibus then.
Alright, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just roll with it. Cool. So you all are in the tavern. That's per usual.
Viktor, after a week of not leaving his room, finally goes down and proclaims, "I have repaired my helmet by polishing it."
Oh, Viktor, forgot about you.
Is there a fireplace?
There
in the
is, of
tavern?
course, a fireplace.
All right, Burned is just like on all fours, like inspecting it, sniffing it.
I'm sitting next. I'm having a drink with Crixus, and I'm just like, so who's the new meat?
Oh, that's my rat shit bucket. And the guy by the fireplace, that's Burned.
It's an interesting name.
Viktor looks at Burn and just shouts, By Chris!
By the way,
What
I was clearly talking about the rat and not Burned.
What is that? What is that?
By the way, shit bucket is up on the table, just like right next to my beer.
You say what? What did you say?
Who brought in this heretical being?
By what? By who?
Joachim, have you not realized there's a burned heretical man in here?
Wait, he's burned. He's alright, we found him in a cave.
I know he's
town.
burned!
No, he is burned.
I see he's burned!
No, his name is Burned.
Do we heal up between sessions, by the way?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So,
It's been like a week.
Burns is kind of on all fours, does like a really fast crawl towards Viktor. Did you say Chris?
Get out of my face, heretic! And I shall...
Did you say Chris?
Yes, by my lord Chris! I compel you to go out!
Chris will burn!
What?
Chris will feel fire!
Oh,
Must
that's
feel
it!
fire!
Oh, that's it, you damn heretical! You may insult me, but my god! I'm gonna slice you in half!
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, feel fire! All under him will feel fire! Cleanse!
Don't do it.
I kind of lean over to Joachim at this point and say, by the way, he likes fire, so I think he's complimenting Chris.
Yeah, I'm having a drink, but it's also I'm giving like my usual sigh and like. So you added another Viktor to the group, I see.
No, his name is Burned.
I caught that. Caught that bit.
We don't have two Victors.
Does Chris have any idols or whatever?
No, think of him like Christianity's god.
Okay.
No, just like we don't have. It doesn't have a cross or anything.
There are
A
no
crisscross.
religious images or anything.
Well, he kind of has a cross because the Far South Templars who worship Chris uses a cross.
Crisscross.
And now, like, he just, like gets his face directly in front of Viktor, like, stares him right in the eye,
Jesus.
sniffs him, and then crawls back to the inside the fire.
Get out of... Viktor storms in front of him like, get out of that fire, you damn heretic! That is no place for... Out of this fine house! Out!
I give an apologetic look at the bar. What's their name again? Fuck.
Ravnus?
Yeah, I give an apologetic look towards Ravnus.
I turn around. Crixus!
She has a pretty
Viktor.
dull stare as she's just cleaning a mug.
Why did you bring such a horrible deformed abomination here?
And it's at this point I'm gonna act like a shit heel. I get up, I just like tap him on the shoulder and say, "My brother in faith, does not Chris tell us to forgive and bring in all comers?"
He also says that all abominations shall burn.
And yet, here you are.
He's already...
Victor
He
takes
comes out of the fire.
Victor takes a couple steps back. You can see him.
I would take a few couple steps back.
Victor sweats like by Chris, and he takes up a napkin and like pats his helmet.
You fucked up, Austin. You fucked up.
Say that word again!
Ah, Crisis! Take this away from me.
Viktor, technically speaking, it wasn't just Crixus's idea.
Oh, it was yours too, holy man.
Isn't Carnibus here?
Look,
Carnibus isn't downstairs yet.
Fine,
I'm,
you take him out of here.
I'm actually gonna physically leave the scene. The shrieking is giving me a worse headache.
Yeah, I was about to say it's at this point that Joachim walks out of the.
Yeah, I go find a table. I just grab my beer and take a table outside. Like, we better let Viktor and Burn come to an agreement by themselves.
Burn is now leaning part way out of the fire, staring directly at Viktor.
Burned. I think we should probably just leave it. And Viktor, maybe you should just leave him.
Leave him? But he's a horrible abomination, Victor says, as he's taken out one of those, sticks you usually, work with the fireplace in. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Alright, hold on. Time out.
A poker.
So, Crixus and Joachim walk outside.
Okay.
Upon exiting the tavern, you immediately notice a very an elegantly made carriage. And someone has stepped out of the carriage and is walking up towards you two.
What does it look like?
Think like Victorian England kind of carriage, but it's got like silver inlay made of fine wood.
What does the guy look like?
Oh, he's wearing a suit, short-cut hair, hat.
His suit is pink.
It's not pink.
Oh.
What color is it?
It's probably like a dark gray.
Okay. Does he look like he's going into the tavern?
It looks like he was, but then like after seeing you two specifically leave, he approaches you two and says, "Good day, sirs."
I just sort of like lift my hat a bit.
Good day.
Adora.
I bring good
I'm wearing
word.
like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, he says, I bring the good word that our fair lady is having a dinner party and is seeking guests.
Oh.
By the Pale Lady of the North, the Queen.
I ain't never heard of Queen.
I've never heard of her either, but surely she needs entertainment for this.
He nods and says, "Of course, but I'll have you know she's looking for something else as well." And he like winks at you.
Crixus doesn't understand at all.
I just my throat, and I'm like, listen, we're more the adventuring sort, not that sort.
No.
He looks at you guys and says, "Oh, no, take no offense. I wouldn't have approached you if you weren't her type."
I realize what Crixus looks like, but he's a gladiator. He's a fighter.
You know,
While he's
the
saying
better.
I'm a fighter, I'm a gladiator, I strike a pose.
The finest, actually.
Yeah,
and not cheap either.
He beams at this, and he hands both of you a finely written envelope with like a seal in like this like silvery wax.
I hand it to Crixus, knowing that he can't read.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he hands one to each of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I open it.
Yeah, it's this real elegant, formal invitation to the ladies' let's see, 25th name day, and it's just from the general wording, it seems like a dinner party, but there's some like subtext about looking for marriage.
Oh boy.
Okay, I want to mess with Crixus. Is he reading it as well? Or like, does he look like he's reading it?
He actually does the smart thing in this situation, which is he grabs it and says, I'll read it inside. I've got a busy day, and he puts it in his pocket.
Okay,
And
never
then
mind.
just kind of like what, and then looks over, basically not realizing that this scheme can only go so far, looks over to Joachim, hoping to pick up what the fuck's going on.
I sort of I read it over and I smirk at it and I'm like, yes, this is exactly the sort of thing Crixus might be interested in.
Well, I've joined you guys right now. Need any help?
Need a priest. How useful.
Well, if there's a wedding in the future.
I clear my throat and I'm like, yes, Dawnshadow.
This will just end horribly.
I believe we found employment for Crixus here. And I just hand him the letter.
Oh, whoa. Well then, this is interesting.
What is it?
Who do I have to fight?
I'm reading it with Joachim.
Yeah, I Crixus on the shoulder. I'm just like, don't you worry. You're ready for this.
It will certainly be an engagement, all right.
Yes.
Just a question, Goth out of character. Is Dawnshadow obliged to wed? That's a good question.
And I turn towards the guy and I'm like, don't worry, we'll be there.
Am I obliged to marry people?
Well, you're a priest.
I like the fact that Joachim has bounced back now that he's got a chance to fuck with someone.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I kind of thought not all priests have the exact same occupation.
Joachim's
They
been
don't.
depressed the last couple of weeks, and he's just finally coming out of it.
Let's say marriage in these kind of areas is less of like a holy blessing and more of like a physical union.
Oh!
Oh my.
This session suddenly took a turn.
I clear my throat again. I'm like, yes, we'll be there, sir.
He nods and says, good. When are you planning on leaving? We can arrange transportation immediately.
What's the date of the wedding again?
Wait, what? Wedding?
No, I'm saying that out of character. Same as it says on the thing.
It doesn't necessarily have a date.
He said beating, not wedding.
Well, we'll leave as soon as we gather our things and soon.
He nods and says, of course, I will wait by the carriage.
Oh, do you want to give us a ride?
He nods and says, of course, we're leaving post-haste.
I sort of like mentally count like how many people we have and sort of like try to fit them in my mind inside the carriage.
It's a nice, there's like 4 horses pulling it.
Is it like one of those really long royal carriages?
It's pretty royal looking.
Yeah, it would probably fit all of us.
That's arguably more terrifying.
Listen, just give us a few moments to prepare, and I sort of lead Crixus inside.
How many people are invited to the wedding?
Well, it's all of us or none of us. I've decided that much.
Who of us are actually playing in the game, just to make sure?
I thought it was everybody.
Everybody?
Everyone's here.
Yeah.
Everyone. Oh, okay.
Carnibus is upstairs, apparently.
Yeah.
Wait, what about Tom Plan? Where's he?
I'm right.
He's not here.
I'm right here.
Oh, are you in game? Because it didn't show your name. It's still not showing your
I'm
name.
showing you.
The game,
Okay.
but if we're not doing combat, then I don't really.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Until we make rolls.
Well, I mean, you're missing like emotes and shit, but that's fine.
Okay, yeah, carry on. I'm gonna wait by the carriage for the others until they've calmed down.
Yeah, so I go inside, and
At this point, Viktor has just hunched over, like, just sits down and asks Burn, "So you like Chris?" Now, Burn, we don't... I see.
okay, so I avoid the two of them, and
I still
I'm
poke it.
for Carnibus at this point. I don't see.
Carnibus sort of descends the stairs from the rooms after also having spent the last week in Viktor's room.
Oh, what the?
Oh,
It's not what you think, guys.
uh-huh.
Unfortunately for Viktor, he didn't know that Carnibus was actually in there.
Victor was busy polishing his helmet, and Carnibus was busy polishing something else of Victor's.
Yeah, she polished his sword.
So
Guys.
Carnibus walks down the stairs.
Yeah.
Okay, Burn dashes out of the fire towards
Ah!
her, and starts sniffing her.
Sniffing.
Yeah, the current just sort of like stumbles back a bit surprised and starts scratching him behind the ear like a dog.
Oh, God.
Victor says, "Ah, so it is your pet, fair lady.
What?
That thing." He points at Burns.
Okay. I'm just gonna. Carnibus is still like pretty groggy by this point.
You tired? I can burn you.
No, that's all right, champ.
It'll wake you up.
I'm quite all right.
Here's a question:
Maybe
does
later.
it like
Let's
does it
put a
bur-
rate check on that.
does it hurt to touch Burned?
No, his flesh is
probably just
charred.
I
warm.
don't think so.
It probably feels warm, but like, his flesh is like
So-
fire is inside him.
Well, Victor wants to just throw him out. Then just basically grab him by the neck and just throw him out the door.
What?
Yeah, to him, Victor, you're kind of like an abomination. He does not like you.
So, at this point, Joachim's had a lot of time to think about Carnibus and sort of like wrap his head around her. And so, even though he's still like hesitant, he walks up and hands her the letter.
Carnibus immediately snatches it and just looks at it, completely woken up by this point. Carnibus is very, very excited about the prospect of this and immediately starts getting into like a little tizzy about it.
What's with you?
I love these sort of things. Are we going now? Can we go now?
Going where? To what?
Joachim looks a little like out of sorts. I like the enthusiasm. He's like, yeah, just get your things and we'll be on our way.
On our way to what?
Don't worry about it, Viktor. There's things to do in the north.
Yes!
But
Things to burn!
No.
silence you.
We're not taking that with us, are we?
I really hope not.
I want
Sorry,
Burn to
He's
like,
just
I just walk over. I
Burn
just walk
is
over
now-
to Burn.
No. Just Burn is now looking directly at Crixus and he kind of just starts whimpering.
Are we all together right now?
Listen,
Yeah.
Yep. All
Okay.
7 of us.
listen, Joachim. Burned is a fan of mine. He'll see me in the ring.
Can he Can he ride on the donkey following us? Because I don't necessarily...
If he's there.
As Burned is whimpering, Carnibus sort of gets down and starts whimpering, making puppy dog eyes too next to Burned.
Wait, what is your charisma?
Burns charisma. Neo.
Burn's charisma is 8.
Yeah, it's the same as mine.
Yeah, but you have a -2.
Yeah, mine is at 9. But no, yeah, how come you don't have a... How come you don't have the scarred trait?
Because you had it scarred, like, in action, so people know what you look like.
Yeah, but how come he doesn't have it? Surely he should have it as well.
Magic.
Because he's burned?
Yeah.
That's not an answer.
Racist.
Gameplay concession.
I can see what you mean, though. That
Yeah,
would make sense that he would have just a burn on top
His
of
whole
any
face is like shriveled and shit. Like, it's the same. Surely he has scarred as well.
And
Yeah,
now the
here we
box has
are.
been checked.
Yeah, so we have the same charisma. Thank you.
You're just so offended that someone has more charisma than
Actually,
you.
what is everyone's charisma?
Mine's 15, I think.
16.
Minus
10.
2.
I actually have, like, I think I have the highest charisma
9.
out of us all in the party.
I'm 16 as well.
Okay. We both have 16.
Okay,
So
so anyway,
back
I'm
to
like,
the scene. So Burned and Carnibus are both whimpering.
Viktor just looks like, Joachim, do you know what that thing came from?
I don't know and I don't want to know.
Neither
found
do
it in
I.
Viktor, we found it in a cave.
Listen, Crixus, if it's gonna come with us, it could ride on the donkey.
I
That
will not
explains
stand
so
for
much.
Do you,
Crixus,
really
you're
wanna, do you want to ride in a carriage all the way with this thing?
that. Yes.
Crixus, can you by honor of Chris, can you say that this thing will not be of any problems to us? Then, if so, you can keep your pet.
Dawnshadow like steps in and he's like, "How about I sit between you and Burns so that you don't fight
I'm
each
not
other?"
sitting near that thing.
That's why I sit in between
On
you.
second thought, I think I'll ride on the donkey. Baldric,
Nice.
go, and I
The
leave.
donkey would be acceptable. I could burn its flesh off.
Yeah, don't put it on the donkey.
I think Carnibus should sit between Viktor and Burned. It would make the most sense.
Very well.
I go outside and I hop on donkey number 2, and Baldric just walks like beside me.
Viktor pets donkey number 2. Yeah, fine donkey.
Oh, Victor, here you go, and I hand him the letter.
Ah, that wedding.
It actually
Ah.
mentions nothing about a wedding.
Hey, what did the note mention then?
So
Let's
it's about
see.
suitors for the.
By God, Vic, fucking clear. Oh, we're above this.
Do you have anything better to do?
Not really.
Well,
I mean, you're in your own right to go ahead and have your own adventure.
Victor just looks.
in the carriage, Victor.
I mean, I do appreciate being looked upon by women. Fine, I'll join.
Burned follows Crixus.
Yeah, that's right. At this point, Carnibus physically lifts Viktor and, like, runs him into the cart.
What the?
Jesus Christ.
Carnibus is excited. Carnibus wants to go.
Jesus
Hey.
Christ.
He's
Right.
Hey,
100 kilos, like 200 plus pounds of metal and man, and she just picks him up without a care.
Dear
Dawnshadow,
lady,
okay.
when did you get that strong?
When did
I'm
she
always
get?
strong when there's engagements to be had.
Burned kind of like tugs on Crixus's arm, wanting to ask a question.
What is this?
Where do I sit?
Wherever.
Mm.
You can sit on the roof.
this is gonna be a long
Burned
carriage ride.
crawls directly onto
You're
the
telling
floor
me.
of the carriage, like in between the seats, and then lays his body out as wide as he can upon it.
The roof.
His
That's not a
body.
bad idea, I say as I climb onto the roof of the
He's on,
carriage.
yeah, Burned is
What?
on the floor of the carriage in between all the seats,
Vi-
laying
Victor,
down.
Victor just facepalm. I'm surrounded by crazy people.
On his stomach.
Meanwhile, Joachim's just having a happy time, like smoking a cigar on the donkey, just waiting for everybody to be ready to leave.
Is everyone ready now?
Actually,
Yeah.
where's the plant?
I'm here.
He's with us. He's just not. He doesn't. He's not
Oh,
walking all
hello,
the time.
Tom Plant. Oh,
Well-
wait a minute.
He's,
I
he's
just
quiet. Tom Plant's always quiet.
The
You and me have
driver
things to
shuts
discuss,
the door
Tom Plant.
behind all of you and assumes the carriage position. You hear a quick snapping of the reins, and you quickly trot off.
But Victor just looks at. We have things to discuss, Tom Plant.
We do.
Yes, it's not often I see a mere man summon demons.
I didn't summon anything.
Oh, exercise.
I
Why-
exercise things. That's not my fault.
Well, that sounds like a pretty heretical thing to do. Explain yourself.
To exorcise things? Surely that's the most unheretical thing you could think of.
Victor just sits there really fucking just
It's like
completely.
sweat on
What?
Victor's helmet as he's like, oh god, he's right.
How about we just enjoy the carriage ride?
Okay, yeah, that's nice, but how's my hair?
It's fine, dear.
It looks lovely. I,
I just
Carnibus spends the
lean
en-
down. I just lean down after that and say, "How's mine?" I'm just like
You look
upside
at-
down, looking through the door.
Meanwhile, I look like I haven't bathed in like several weeks on the donkey.
As you look as you always do, Crixus.
Dawnshadow just like starts scratching on his beard.
Carnibus sort of leans over, licks her thumbs, and musses with Crixus's hair, making it look all pretty.
Oh god.
Burned jolts directly up and starts sniffing Carnibus's hair.
Oh my god.
But wait,
Wait.
as,
It is clean, it is straight, and it is not torched. Horrible! And then he kind of lays back down.
but wait, as Carnibus, fixes Crixus's hair, Victor just stares at him like, "Back off, my lady."
Then he lays back down.
It's like I
Carnibus
get my hair
Why you
played
just
with for a
help
couple of
those,
seconds,
it's
then I
like-
just like swing back up onto the roof of the carriage.
Carnibus spends the entire carriage ride, though, like, just fixing up her appearance, making sure her eyes are nice and dazzling, maybe, like, plumping up... I mean, she's a metamorph, like, plumping up her figure, making it nice and curvy, all that stuff.
So, the driver tilts his head up to look at you, Crixus, and he says, Messer may wish to hold on to the carriage extra tight.
No, I'm fine. I'm quite good at it.
I hope.
Meanwhile, I'm
Uh,
along.
Victor just sputters. I hope he falls.
And
Crick-
he bends over to Joachim and says, you may wish to put a hand on the carriage for this next part.
This is gonna be some magic. Shit.
Crixus, are you sure?
He just stares forward and he starts like snapping the reins in this weird like rhythmic fashion. Like not both of them at the same time, but like the right one, right, left, right, left.
Joachim sort of sighs, and he has his usual like, "Here we go again." Look, and then he puts like one hand on the carriage and one hand on Baldric, who's walking next to me.
Yeah, and within a very fast moment, you were no longer in a grassy plain, but instead in this winter wonderland emerging from a wood. And far ahead of you stands this enormous ivory like stone tower.
Victor just looks around. Wait a minute. Wasn't it summer just now? Huh?
Is it cold?
It is cold.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. Joachim
Someone
immediately
start a
like,
fire right now!
You are the fire. Actually, no, don't start the fire.
Joachim sort of adjusts his poncho a little higher up on him.
I just
Wait, so
wrap
have
my
we started
giant
the
yellow
fire?
coat around me.
No, don't.
I'm already dressed.
By the way, can I spend the rest of the cabin ride using a Kindle to tend to my inner flame?
Oh,
Sure.
man.
Alright, cool.
Why a Kindle and not a Nook?
I have an ancient Kindle.
Hey, I have a Nook.
Now I have 3.
Me too.
So like Burn just kind of like Burn kind of gets up from his kind of like very carefully sits down, I guess, next to Carnibus and takes out his Kindle and just starts tending to the inner flame for the rest of the ride.
A Nook is the Barnes and Noble equivalent of a Kindle.
Actually, during this ride, Viktor asked Tom Plant again. So, where did you learn to exorcise evil spirits? Well, Tom Plant?
I did not catch what you just said.
Oh, he asked where you learned to exorcise evil spirits.
Well, I've been wandering the world for a good while. You tend to pick these things up.
Odd skill to just pick up. What church did you learn it from?
Well, I was exploring in the Far East one time and I came across some ruins. And the rest is history. I found a few monks there. They told me everything I needed to know.
I see. Well, good enough so far. At least you're exercising spirits. That's a good thing. I would prefer if you did it in the name of Chris.
So, what are we riding towards again?
There's this enormous ivory tower in the distance. It's actually looks pretty close, but you're on a trail and you're emerging from this like winter white wood.
Burned is in fetal position.
Pull out my spyglass and I look at it.
Yeah, it looks really old as far as like stone goes, but it also looks incredibly clean. With your spyglass, you notice like spygas. You notice a gate tended by 2 guards that you are approaching. There's multitude of windows on the tower, but they seem to be closed at the moment.
How armored, like how geared are the guards?
They appear to be mostly in plate mail, holding halberds.
Oh, so
But
this is like
they
some
have-
serious shit.
They have like masks covering their faces.
Dawnshadow crooks his glass as he looks around his surroundings and just continues nomming on a biscuit.
Burned is like basically like after having tended to the inner flame, like still sitting next to Carnibus. He's now just completely in fetal position.
Ha, baby! I survived on Winterland for a whole month. Part of my training. A whole month.
Alright, I put the spyglass
What
back
is a month?
here, and then like as we're walking towards, I just talked to Baldric about fighting in winter climates, various lessons.
Of course. Yeah, you very quickly approach the gates, and you hear the carriage kind of draw up. Then the guards open the gate, and you guys trot through. Eventually, you pull up to a stable where the driver begins like unhitching the horses, and he opens the door for everyone. And there's 2 servants wearing these like plain white masks, standing like.
Are they like
waiting for you.
masquerade masks?
Yes, but they cover the entire face.
So not even lips and stuff.
Right.
They're actually wearing shadow
Cool.
masks painted white.
Damn.
I tie Bill up and then hop off, and etc.
I
Yeah.
climb down off the carriage.
Crixus! Is it time to leave?
I don't know, it's much colder here than I thought. I don't like it, I want to leave.
Victor just sees all these masks and says, What fool wears a mask?
Victor, I hate to point it out, but
No. Just let him.
Somebody please tell me that I will find a fire where we are going!
Oh,
Maybe. Will you die if you don't find a fire?
Gotta agree with you, Crixus, on the cold here. And sort of like bunch up a bit.
I mean, my character's wearing a giant kind of like yellow overcoat, and he doesn't like it. It's for show. It's not for actual practical cold weather.
My guy is half dwarven, so he's quite used to the weather. So he's wondering why some of the others are quite uncomfortable.
Dear lady, are you cold? I asked to Carnibus.
I turn to the coach.
Hey, what?
I turn to the guy driving the coach and I say, "Listen, I like fighting and all, but considering it's cold, I'm gonna need to be paid extra for this."
I mean, Joachim's from a place that's ironically called Brisk because it's in a desert, so...
The driver looks at you and says, "Of course, the fair lady has quite the dowry."
I don't know what that word means, but I hope it means I get paid.
It's a reward for fighting, Viktor. Or, Crixus.
Okay, Bernd pokes his head directly as close to the driver as he can from his position, and says, "Are there fires in there?"
There is a pleasant warmth. There should be a fire somewhere, yes.
Point me towards it.
He says, "One moment, those two will take care of you." And then he wanders off to finish taking care of the horses. While the two servants wearing the masks kind of wait for all of you to exit the carts. And
Okay,
then,
Bernd, runs, just dashes out of the cart, stops directly in front of one of the men. Where? Fire where?
they speak in tandem, and they say, "One moment, please
That's not
wait
at all.
for all of your guests, our guests."
That's not
Great.
wicked.
Waiting
Speaking
for
in tandem.
players.
Just a question. Does the fair lady of this castle follow the religious way of Chris?
They tilt their heads in opposite directions and say, "We know not of Chris, but perhaps over dinner you could explain."
Joachim is
Yes!
told by them talking at the same time.
Crixus,
By the way,
get
Oscar,
over here now!
I walk over.
Twin speak is literally the creepiest fucking thing.
It kinda is.
Yeah,
Viktor just leans into complaint. We're probably gonna die, so say your last prayers.
Yeah, you might be right.
So, who isn't here at the gate yet?
I assume everyone's just kind of like standing around.
Viktor just stands in the cold. You can see some frost on his armor.
You, want to let us inside now?
They look up, they look around, and says, "Are these all the intending guests? Are we accounted for?" And then they alternate, well, like, as they count you, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay,
6, 7.
that's enough, that's enough.
Wait,
We're
I
all-
just go, wait. Are we the only people here?
No, of course not.
Maybe it's a checklist.
Is there...
There are other
Okay,
servants.
no.
Oh,
There's a butler played by Tim Curry.
When I tied... I tied the donkey up. Were there other horses and things?
Yeah, there's a fair number. Like, this is a pretty big stable.
I just got the
Except-
full extent of that joke.
They look more like the Shetland kind of horses. You know, they got fuzzy legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the Wonder Twins like lead you through the path and up to the big doors where one of them takes one door and the other takes the other door as they open it.
They did it at the same time?
Yes. And they bow, like deeply
Is
bow
this where
as
the
they're
fire
opening the
is?
doors.
Carnibus is literally bouncing with excitement by
Is
this
this where the
point.
fireplace is?
The doors themselves are immaculate, you know, tall wooden with like shiny silver inlay written all over them. And as the doors open, just this warm, inviting light pours out, and you know you can like immediately feel the warmth of it.
Is the
Before we
fireplace-
walk inside, Joachim has just like a little butt of a cigar left, and he just tosses it on the floor, steps on it, and then he walks inside.
Crixus is basically eyeing up everyone he sees, like, is that the guy I'm gonna fight? Is that the guy I'm gonna fight? Is that the guy I'm gonna fight?
He's
Viktor
got absolutely no idea what's actually happening. Does
So
he?
the source of
No.
the warmth is a fireplace. Is
Uh,
it?
Vic-
There,
Victor
this
just
is
put-
full.
This is an enormous royalty tower. There are probably dozens of fireplaces.
Burn dashes like as fast as he can towards the closest one.
Yeah, I mean, there's one probably in like the entrance foyer.
Gets inside of it.
Stay Cody.
He just like lunges inside the fireplace.
Yes.
Victor just looks
his
around.
best to ignore Burned at this point.
Victor just looks around and says, comments, nothing like far south architecture. Look at this. This place is flimsy. You could tear this down.
What are we greeted with? What does it actually look like in here?
Sure. So it is a circular, more or less sitting area. The benches are wooden, but they look like they were made to fit the curve of the wall. And on the wall are multiple kind of candelabras, a lot of kind of silver decorated inlays. There are 3 doorways, and you notice like a few mirrors near the entrance.
These guys like their silver inlay.
I want to do a what you call it?
Discern realities.
Yes,
Or spout lore?
discern realities.
Okay.
It reminds me of back home.
Doesn't remind me of back home.
Nice.
You lived in a flimsy place
What
like
here
this.
is useful or valuable to me?
Not exactly.
In a combat situation, you could definitely flip over those benches and use them as kind of roadblocks. Also, just this first floor architecture, it looks like it would be really easy just to bolt the fuck out of the front door if you need to. Stables are pretty close.
Who's really in control here? And by that question, I'm looking for not necessarily like guard and stuff, but like who looks like they're like people are gathering around talking to like the leader of whatever this place is.
Of course, right now you guys are the only ones in this kind of foyer area, but you quickly see a person like walking through a doorway, and the twins close the door behind you. They walk up to meet him.
What here is not what it appears to be. If anything.
Yeah, so you notice that some of the mirrors are reflecting incorrect areas. And there appears to be like multiple mirrors, like there's more than one.
I have a feeling there's going to be a magical presence around the whole thing.
Okay, I keep that to
My
myself,
current-
but I'm a bit unsettled.
Metagame knowledge, like speaking out of character, I'm thinking there's going to be some succubus bullshit going on.
Oh, fantastic!
I'm also going to roll discern realities, and it didn't
Too
work.
fucking bad, you don't get shit. Like
Well, you
XP.
get XP, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to discern reality.
You know what,
That's
just for the
just
sake of it, I'm gonna have Crixus try and spout lore on the architecture. He's seen a few, he's travelled, he's not smart, but he's travelled all over the place. So,
These few things.
he knows
Wow.
something interesting about the architecture, but not useful.
Well, I think it would be pretty hard to have some, like, useful.
I don't know, if we need to
let's
wreck
see.
the place later on in our
Yeah,
escape.
like a week point or something.
Oh,
Something interesting.
well, the twin's still there.
Yeah, I mean, they shut the door behind you and then, like, walked in front of you to greet someone who's, like, walking through a doorway.
They also have a phone.
Crixus has done wedding entertainment before, so he's starting to see something's not right here.
Can I discern them?
Wait, so what's the interesting thing about the
Yeah,
architecture?
hold on, I'm trying to think of something interesting. Of, like, the
Kinda-
architecture.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Something interesting about the architecture. You've seen these kind of stone designs before, and they're actually much thicker than they appear. Or something interesting.
Yeah,
Sure, you can discern realities on the Wonder Twins.
I got one thing. It wasn't a film. Oh, it's a message from me. What here is not what it appears to be.
For the two twins?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't think they're actually twins. Like, they are of differing heights, and, like, they have different hair colors, and, like, different, like, hairstyles. Like, one of them's curly, and the other's kind of straight and blonde.
Yep, I've been in that situation before.
As we're walking forward, I hang back a bit, and I sort of motion for Dawnshadow to do the same.
Sorry, I was on the phone. Did I miss anything?
Really?
That was in character, by the way.
I hang back a bit, and I motion for Dawnshadow to do the same, and I sort of, like, nod towards...
Do the same, do what? I don't know what was happening. I was on the phone in
No, to hold back.
To hold back for a moment, and then I sort of nod towards the mirror, and I say, something ain't right here. I'm not sure what it is. Keep an eye out. And then I continue forward.
Actually, Carnibus, like, just goes and checks her appearance in a mirror.
Yeah, no, it's your appearance in the mirror.
Does she even have a reflection?
Yeah.
She's not a vampire.
I would like to discern realities on the twins.
Everyone is discerning reality right now.
Sure, roll it.
Nice.
Alright, ask your 3.
Who's really in control here?
Same answer Crixus got, the man they are talking to.
Well, I mean, I was
Or
just
yeah,
about
Joachim.
the twins. That's...
Well, no, I mean, like, they are in a conversation with him. He seems to be the dominant figure.
What happened here recently?
They walked through a door and closed it.
What should I be on the lookout for?
I would be looking for other guests, maybe other servants. There are 2 guards in the room. Maybe there's more guards around.
So, what are they talking about? What are they saying?
Yes, the 2 approach another man in another mask, full, like, white mask, and they say, 7 more for dinner. He says, fantastic, I shall tell the cooks immediately. Will you please show them to the dining area? And he briskly, like, walks off, and the 2 turn around, and they say, if you would please, follow us. And then they start walking up the staircase.
I dash up right next to Crixus and I start tugging on his arm.
Yes?
I don't think you're here to fight.
What? No, I must be here to fight. Why else do I go places?
Crixus, keep your pet under control.
No, I don't think you understand. I was promised a fight.
This isn't an area of murder and death.
I don't think they never. I don't think anyone promised you a fight at all.
I was promised a battle when I came here. A worthy opponent.
Crixus, it's alright. Don't worry about it.
Man.
I kind of point to Joachim. Joachim, you know I can't read. What am I here for?
Look, we're just getting a free meal. Maybe we can, get some coin out of this somehow. Who knows?
Yep. And Viktor just hold his shoulder. And besides, maybe you can meet a nice lady or 2.
I don't care about that. I just want to fight things.
I see. I see. Yeah.
Yes. I see it wrong.
Crixus rolling the other way. I see. Okay.
I don't think that's what he means.
You can never be too sure, Dawnshadow.
Now Burn kind of crawls over to, goes like next to Carnibus and starts tugging on her arm.
Carnibus sort of, like, squats down. What is it, honey?
Honey?
What is this
Like,
place?
talking to a child.
Well, he is basically a fucking child, so you're not wrong.
This?
It's a ball.
Why are we here?
A ball? But I don't even have my ball armor.
You have... I'm not even going to finish that idea.
Is this a place of fire and death?
In a certain way.
Why? Why are people happy?
I just continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, are we going to the actual party or what?
Yeah, they are leading you up a spiral staircase. And it opens up on the what feels like the second floor, and it opens up into a giant hall where you see another like 6 people sitting at this enormous long table with servants kind of standing around. Along the walls are giant statues of like soldiers and enormous, almost like floor-to-ceiling mirrors. At the end of the long table sits a very tall lady with a perfect porcelain mask on that has, like, it appears to have makeup on it and is like inlaid with gold and like well-positioned jewels and gems.
Does she have large tracts of land?
Actually, she does not.
But that lady behind her have huge tracts of land.
She has...
Carnibus is going to discern realities on her. Specifically, what here is useful or valuable to me with her and, like, getting into her favor.
Those gems, probably.
Useful or... Like, literally, this is just useful or valuable to you. Let's see.
Like, what was useful, valuable to me? Specifically, I want to, like, be in this person's favor, suck up to them, get them to like me, that sort of.
That question wouldn't tell you that. Like, none of those questions would tell you that, I don't think. But what here is useful or valuable to me? She seems to be sipping from a crystal goblet. And by sipping, I mean, like, pouring it through the like mouth hole in the mask.
That's a little weird.
Ugh.
What does it, like a wine or water or what?
Oh, it's definitely like a dark, deep red color.
Okay.
The way she pours that thing down her mask. Ooh.
And like you notice like a little bit stays on the mask, and she quickly dabs it away with a napkin.
What are the guests doing?
Currently, they were like talking amongst themselves, but then like as you enter, they like look up and like nod, like, "Oh yes, of course, the last of the guests." And then,
Are they all wearing masks?
No, the guests are not.
They're naked.
What do they look
Oh my.
like? Just a few of the people.
Yeah. So 1 second. There is a human male with brown hair. He's wearing his like banded mail, and that's it for him. Let's see. There is another human male, curly brown hair. He's in like plain clothing, but he has a wide brimmed hat. There is a halfling sitting in a chair. He's pretty fair in appearance. Looks kind of he looks nice.
Does he remind me of Mandok?
No, he's a more charming Mandok.
Wow, fuck you.
First of all, fuck you, okay? Second of all, that's not possible.
That's true. He's as charming as Mandog. He
That
has
might be possible.
Mandok, is that you?
parted black hair with well-traveled clothes, and he appears to be wearing like riding boots.
He looks
let's
like a more disgruntled version of Nigel West Dickens.
There is a short elf with like auburn hair, wearing very fine clothing and a nice weathered hat.
I have a question.
Or feathered hat, yeah.
Are there dwarfs?
There is one dwarf. He has a very like triangular face with red hair. He's currently dressed in like leather armor.
I have a question. When you say short elf, do you mean like basically pretty much a normal-sized human?
Yeah,
Are elves tall in this?
yeah.
Now, wait, are these all men?
There is a fourth elf who is female.
Okay.
Or a second elf who's
It's
female.
not a
sorry.
total sausage fest.
Well, the Crixus would probably like it that way.
Is there food? Anything?
They are currently not eating. Actually, sorry. There is bread on the at multiple places on the table, along with looks like jam maybe. Some people are kind of eating bread and drinking through off these goblets, talking.
I mosey over to the table where the bread is.
I go out and start handing out business cards.
Victor,
Make like a beeline for the table as quickly as would be socially acceptable and sit as close to like the head of the table as possible.
Sure. So there's already somebody there. So if the lady is at the head of the table, the 2 seats immediately next to her are taken.
Victor goes up, sits next to Carnibus, but before he does that, he bows down and says to the host and greetings, I am Sir Viktor von Manner, Templar of the Far South, fair lady.
She looks up at you and says, "Oh my, a Templar from the Far South, even.
Yes.
What an honor it is to have you here."
It's an honor to be here.
And she motions towards a seat and says, "Please help yourself."
Yes, of course. I sit down next to Carnibus.
I just start following Crixus around. Actually, I tug on his arm.
Bernd, I'm handing out business cards. I hand him a few. Just give these out to everyone and anyone who will accept you.
Hold on! Before that, if death happens, please do not leave me for dead.
When would I ever do that?
Fines.
Oh, there were mitigating Oh wait, I can't use the word mitigating. That's too smart for him. There were problems.
Yeah, you're not
there.
Mid-Nut.
Please do not do it again.
I won't. Not if I can help it.
Okay, I give him a hug. On his legs.
I return the hug.
On his legs. On his and then I saunter and then I crawl off.
Is there just one long table that everyone's sitting at, or what?
Yeah, no, it's just one long table.
I go and sit next to Viktor eventually.
Just one thing. After Viktor makes himself apparent to our host, I decide to go and make myself apparent just to make her aware that I'm a priest from a different land and of a different order.
Yeah, so let's roleplay this. What do you tell her?
Let me just load up. Just comes up to a lot shorter than Viktor was, but bows and says, "Well, thank you for having us. I am Finam Dawnshadow. I come from a disclosed region because I'm hiding the name for the moment. That's in character as well."
Yeah, no, that's our actual name, disclosed in region.
Yes.
Evandale. He's from Evandale. And he goes on to say that he's part of the Order of the Crimson Twilight.
She nods and says, "The Crimson Twilight, of course. Well, Dawnshadow, thank you for coming. Please." And she gestures towards the seat.
Viktor leans into Carnibus and whispers, "She has no idea what the fuck the Order of the Dawnshadow is."
I would say that I was next to Dawnshadow.
Order of the Dawnshadow.
Joachim from Brisk. This is Baldric the Lesser.
She looks up at both of you and says, "The Lesser, what happened to the Greater?"
That's a long story.
There is no greater.
There's a laugh from behind the mask and says, "One story I hope to hear one day. Thank you for coming."
It's at this point that Crixus picks up that you're meant to go and introduce yourself, so I get Bernd and go up with Bernd following me so we can introduce ourselves. I just kind of walk up, strike a pose. "My name is Crixus, a gladiator from Eastal to Christchurch. Winner of many battles. Gladiator in many lands, famed the world over. Surely you have heard of me. And this is Bernd."
Viktor just sits face palming like, "Oh my lord."
She claps her hands. She claps her hands excitedly and says, "Yes, of course, Crixus. I'm so glad you got our invitation. I've seen your matches, but only from afar." And she looks at Bernd and says, is this your trophy?"
No, this is Bernd. I found him in a cave. Also, this is my pet rat, Shit Bucket.
You just straight up say it to her face. This is shit bucket.
Yeah.
I like to imagine he said that while cracking up as well in character.
No, he said that completely straight-faced.
Oh, okay.
She rips off a piece of bread and holds it out to Shit Bucket the rat.
She's very
before Shit Bucket can take it.
Oh my! Oh my, Chris!
She's a very gracious host.
And she looks at Burn and says, "Oh well, it is a pleasure to have you nonetheless. Please take a seat."
I go and sit
Burn
next to
takes
Viktor.
a piece of bread and takes it with him to the
Shit
nearest
Bucket.
fireplace.
Probably not Goth.
Hey, rats are notoriously clean, and Shit Bucket is no different, even if he was found in a bucket full of shit.
Oh no!
We didn't find him
Carnibus.
there, the goblins did.
Carnibus very sort of
Wait, this is a
hastily.
goblin rat? It's a goblin pet?
No, the goblins had
it was a trade. I gave them something, they gave me Shit Bucket.
He gave him the jar.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Carnibus, go ahead.
Carnibus very sort of like quickly slides in front of Crixus as Crixus begins to leave, takes the lady's hand and does a very, very deep, almost like exaggerated bow. Dearest, Your Majesty, I am Lady Abigail von Struger, Child of the Night. It is truly a pleasure and an honor to be in your presence.
Joachim sort of like mouths Abigail at Viktor, like, what?
She giggles and says, "Ah, yes, Lady Abigail, thank you so much for coming. Please." And gestures towards your seat.
Viktor looks very confused, like, your name is Abigail?
Carnibus very, very slowly walks back to her seat, sort of like giggling and not breaking eye contact with the figure until she's finally at her seat.
But Viktor whispers, like, your name is Abigail? You never told me.
Never had reason to.
Jesus. Only been traveling together for like a month and a half.
Yeah, you
Oh my
polished my sword.
We're at a dinner table, please.
Oh my!
I'm just saying, you polished my sword. You polished my sword very well.
Bernd is finished with the bread and dashes back out of the fireplace. He jumps onto the table and sits cross-legged.
Yeah, the other guests kind of look up at you. They look at each other. And then they look at across the table at the rest of the guests. And
Doing the same thing.
And the dwarf looks at Joachim, you know, like the most seasoned fighter there, and he says, where are you from?
Brisk. My squire here is also brisk.
He nods and says, Brisk. I've been there once or twice. It's not as brisk as it sounds. He laughs.
Are you from the mountain homes?
He nods and says, "Aye, further south than Brisk."
Is he a stout and burly dwarf, like quite bulky?
Nope.
Or...
It's kind of lean.
The trades dwarf.
Name's Joachim. Yours?
He looks and he says, he nods and says, Thudu, pleasure.
Can you type that?
THUDU.
How do you do the Thudu that you do?
Well met, Thudu.
Voodoo, you do.
He nods and says, well met, and then he takes a sip from his goblet.
Bitch.
What about bing, bing, bing?
Yeah, the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power?
Joachim
Bernd
sort of
has-
has a bit of bread in his mouth. Choose it.
Bernd has picked up a plate and he's inspecting it very closely.
Yeah, these are quality metal plates. Like polished nickel or something.
He enjoys how receptive it is to heat.
Yep.
He
You
takes
take
it
it.
back to the fireplace.
It does not melt.
Use yourself at some point.
He takes it back to the fireplace.
Yeah, it doesn't melt. It's nice.
Yeah. He's content.
One moment.